In this scenario, we want to create a recipient under our Write2Them account that we created in a previous demonstration. Our son is going to be heading off to basic training at Lackland Air Force Base in a few weeks, and we want to get a Write2Them email address assigned and enter some of the basic information. And then, since it's a few weeks away, we'll activate later. So the first thing we want to do is click on this bookmark to the login page that we created earlier, and then type in our email address and our password and log in. And you'll see that the web page puts us automatically into the new recipient function, since this is it knows that we haven't created any recipients yet. We've got kind of an empty account, and most likely thing to do after logging in is that we want to go ahead and create information about a recipient, which is the case here. So just to recap, each one of the steps in a data entry process and Write2Them, the steps are numbered in those black rectangles with the numbers in white font. And in step 1, we can enter in some of the basic information about our training location and about our recipient by clicking on the where our loved one is going to be going to training. In this case, it's Lackland Air Force Base. So you just click on that, and then if you scroll down, you'll see that it filled in the rank, which is Airman Basic, and it filled in Lackland Air Force Base, Texas, and the zip code. Depending on the location, more or less information is filled in. Step 2 is the training date. In this case, we know that basic training for our son Michael is going to start on March 10th this year. So we're going to go ahead and choose that date. Little calendar tool here, go to the next month, click on the 10th, and you'll see that it automatically fills in the end date. Estimation is based on 8 weeks of training. For each one of these training locations that Write2Them knows about, we also record the typical number of weeks of training, and it uses that to create a default end date. We can change that now, or we can leave it alone. We can also change it when we activate the service. So step 3 is putting in the name, Michael Thomas. And you'll see as we go down here to the formatted mailing address, this is the address as it's going to appear on the Write2Them letters and be on the envelope. So as we fill in this information, it'll update the formatted mailing address so you can see how the address will appear when it's printed out. So we don't know the street address yet. We're just going to put in a TBD. You tab out of the field and you see it updates that in the formatted mailing address here. But that's all we know about the mailing address for right now. We'll find out a few days after Michael shows up for basic training. Here in step 5, if we want to use a smaller font, we can choose that. We'll get a little more content in our letters. Wouldn't do this for older people. For young people heading off to basic training, it should be fine. You really only need to do it if you're going to be using up 8 pages per letter. The other important thing here is the printing photos. That if your son, daughter, spouse, friend contacts you during basic training, they've received some letters that had a lot of photos in them, and their training instructor was making them do push-ups or laps or whatever as punishment, with punishment in quotes. They may ask you to stop sending photos, and you can easily do that just by clearing that box. And then when the training instructor, as they usually do, relaxes that policy later on in basic training, you can turn it back on. So it's really up to you. It gives you control over the content that comes out in the letters. That's really all we need to do to create a recipient. And when we click the Save button here, it'll validate the information, and then it automatically takes us to the activation page. And one important thing to see here is that it says it's activating service for Michael Thomas, And then you see that he's been assigned a Write2Them email address, michael.thomas@write2them.org. And this is the email address that all friends and family and I will use to send email to Michael during basic training. And our Write2Them server receives the email, and then we format those into the letters and print them out and mail them to Michael at basic training. That's the whole heart of the service. So we're not going to activate the service right now. We'll do that in a different demonstration. We still have a few weeks until basic training starts. So we're just going to go back to the account and we'll see what's changed about this. Now, after we had created the account, we had an empty main account page. But now we have one of these little cards, index cards, for each one of the recipients that we've created. And keep in mind that we can create multiple recipients. If we have multiple children heading off to a service academy or basic training at different branches of the service, different locations, different dates or whatever, we can create one record for each one of those individuals. They'll all get their own mailing address at write2them.org. And then we can come back at any time here and add friends and family. We'll do that in a separate demonstration, and activate the service when it's time. So just note that we've created a Write2Them account that we can log into. We've created information for a recipient. We've gotten a Write2Them email address, and we haven't paid any money. So it's entirely free of charge to put in all of this information, and you don't pay for the service until you're ready to start using it, until you want to start receiving emails and printing the letters here, and that's part of activation, and we will demonstrate that in the next demonstration.